Now here we have to decide whether a solution is going to be saturated or unsaturated. And so what we're going to do is, this is the solubility of KCl at 20 degrees Celsius is 34 grams per 100 grams. And we're going to determine if we're saturated or unsaturated. And so I got 25 grams of potassium chloride in 100 grams of water. Now, the way we're going to determine whether something is saturated or unsaturated is we go ahead and figure out from our problem here, how many grams per 100 grams of water do we have actually that we're trying to dissolve? And then we'll compare that number to the solubility. If the number is equal to or greater than the solubility that we're going to get, then it must be saturated. And if it's less than the solubility, then it's going to be unsaturated. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have 25 grams of KCl in 100 grams of water. Now, fortunately, since we're already 100 grams and the solubility is per 100 grams, I would say that's 25 grams over 100 grams. That's our solubility. Remember, the solubility is per 100 grams. So we have to ask ourselves, in this situation, is 25 grams per 100 grams less than or greater than 34? It's less than, which means we have room for more that we can add in. Specifically, we've got room for 9 more grams that we can add in. So this is unsaturated. So that's unsaturated. So what if we were to say, let's try a different amount. Let's just leave that up there. And we don't have 100 grams. So what will we do then? Well, if we don't have 100 grams, let's say we said 25 grams in 250 grams of water, what would we do? Well, we're going to go ahead and write it out just like we did before, the 25 grams of potassium chloride over 250 grams of water, and we're going to get a number that's going to be per 1 gram, and that's key. And so we say 25 divided by 250, well, that's 0.1. That's 0.1 grams KCl per 100 gram, per 1 gram, pardon me, per 1 gram. Now, how do we get it to 100? Well, if we multiply the top and the bottom by 100, and you have to do both, that will give me the grams per 100 grams, which in this case would be 10 grams per 100 grams. And now we have something that we can compare to the 34 grams per 100 grams. And what do we have up here? Well, 10 grams is still less than 34 grams per 100, so this is unsaturated. Now, we're comparing. It's unsaturated. So 10 grams over 100 grams is less than 34. Matter of fact, we have room for 24 more grams. Let's try one more. Let's see if we can get a saturated solution. Let's see what we get here. And so I'm going to leave this up. We're still using the solubility KCl. And keep in mind, the solubility is different for everything. So what if I had 65 grams in 120 grams? 65 grams in 120 grams of water. Well, we do the same thing. 65 over 120. And that would give me 65 divided by 120. And that will give me 0.54 grams per 1 gram. And we're going to multiply the top and bottom times 100, and that will give me 54 per 100. Now, is 54 greater than or less than? Yes, it's greater than 34, so the solution is saturated. So the first 34 grams will be in solution, and then the next 20 grams, because 20 plus 34 gives me 54, next 20 grams will be sitting on the bottom of the beaker. That's what will happen. So in this case, this one is actually saturated. And you have 20 grams of KCl, potassium chloride, sitting on the bottom. So this is how you can determine whether something's saturated or unsaturated. You take however much you're trying to dissolve, you divide it by however many grams of water you have, you're going to get a number, but remember that's per 1 gram, and then you're going to multiply times 100 over 100 to get to grams over grams. So that's 54 grams for every 100 grams of water, and it's greater than 34, so that must be saturated.